'cause you're amazing, just the way you are. And when you smile, the whole world stops and stares for a while.
And please welcome to the stage your host and Deputy Cruise Director, it's Bernie.
Good evening, Princess Theatre. How are you tonight? Hi, Mum and Dad. Look at that. Wait, let me pose. No flash in the theatre. How are you guys doing? Do you have a good day? A little rocky? Are you feeling like you're going to throw up? Great! You're experienced cruisers then, and you're not going to be making the ship filthy, which we don't like. Well, you know what? Let me tell you something. I've actually worked with a gentleman before, but I couldn't remember until I saw his face, because you know I'm visual. So I now have the best memories of his show, and he's performed for the Boston with the Boston Pops, and of course in Carnegie Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, please put those hands together and welcome onto the stage the beautiful music of Chris Contillo.
Thank you very much. Good evening. My name is Christopher Contillo, and I come originally from Miami, Florida. Yay! Yeah, but I don't live there anymore. I moved to a little town called Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. Yay! There's my ride. There's my ride. But that's backwards, right? You're not supposed to start off in Miami and then move up there. Everybody does it the other way around, right? But that's a whole nother story I'll tell you about a little bit later. Are you enjoying your cruise? I'm enjoying your cruise, too. Well, what little bit of it I'm going to be on. I got on in Buenos Aires, and I'll go home from Punta Arenas. So it's a little bit of a flight, yeah, from down there. Not looking forward to that. But anyway, anyone recognize the piece I just played? Yes? Sounds like I heard somebody say I'm always chasing rainbows. Yeah, that was Frédéric Chopin's arrangement of I'm Always Chasing Rainbows, which he did about 150 years before the song ever came out. Amazing. Yeah. But no, actually the name of the piece is Fantasy Impromptu, written by Frédéric Chopin. And whoever wrote I'm Always Chasing Rainbows kind of just stole the melody from Chopin, probably wrote the lyrics, and just put their name on it. And there's a lot of that, though, right? There's a lot of great pieces, great masters' work that's taken, and they write popular songs out of it. Like, have you ever heard of a song called Full Moon and Empty Arms? Yeah? Rachmaninoff wrote that. It's from a second concerto, third movement, note for note. What about No Other Love? A song called No Other Love. Or if you're from the UK, So Deep Is the Night. Another song, another Chopin. It's one of Chopin's etudes, Opus 10, number 3. What else? How about Till the End of Time? Everybody knows that one. That's the big Polonaise in A-flat by Chopin. Yeah, I think these guys do this because, number one, they can't come up with a tune of their own that's any good. And number two, the odds of them being sued are 0. Yeah, so they get away with it. But anyway, I want to continue with a beautiful piece of music that everybody's going to recognize. You hear it all the time, but you don't always hear it the way it was written. Usually when I hear it, I'm like going up and down the lanes at the Walmart or maybe in the dentist's office. It's one of those pieces that they turned it into like an elevator type thing, and you hear it all the time. Also, movies. They seem to love to use it in movies. So, I mean, there's dozens of movies where this piece is in. But just off the top of my head, there was a movie a while back called Frankie and Johnny with Michelle Pfeiffer and Al Pacino. And I mentioned that one because they actually did it on the piano for that one. But all the Oceans movies, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, so I don't know how many they got now, but it's in all of those. Also, I haven't seen them, but apparently, you know, because I'm not a vampire werewolf guy, but apparently the Twilight movies, it's in those as well. But it's a beautiful piece of music. It's impressionistic, and it should like inspire some mental images for you when you listen to it. So, and I want to play it for you the way it was originally written by the composer. So I invite you to sit back and relax and see what comes to mind when you listen to this piece, but don't fall asleep. This is Clair de Lune by Claude Debussy. Thank you. Excuse me. It's a beautiful piece, isn't it? We got to get rid of these bats. Yeah? What's that all about? For those of you in the back, it's squeaky up here. There's lots of noise going on. It's a little bit distracting, but we'll work through it. Anyway, did you see what I mean, though, by mental images? Like, for me, like, I listen to that piece, and it reminds me of, like, a painting, like maybe a watercolor, where it's really not quite clear, but there's beautiful colors and that kind of thing. And like I used to ask audiences what kind of things came to mind when they listened to that, and they would always say things like, you know, a stream coming down the mountain, like things along the lines of nature, which is appropriate, right? Because this is a really beautiful. It's gonna when we go around the horn, it's really beautiful down there. But you know, those kind of things. I had somebody say a fall scene, which I thought was pretty cool because of all the colors. You know, the changing leaves blowing down a street. I thought, yeah, I can relate to that. But, you know, I made the mistake of asking that question on board one of these ships. Yeah, and somebody said the dessert cart going by. I don't see it, but it is very food-oriented. I noticed, you know, that you guys eat every 2 hours, right? Like newborns, with the feeding. And you got to watch that because, you know, they weigh everything on the planes now. You're not going to be able to go home. But I got a ride. I'm okay. Anyway. All right, I want to continue with a piece I don't normally play, but I'm going to play again for you in a couple days' time. And I'm saving what I normally play right now for that because it's going to go along with that because I'm going to do an all Chopin concert for you, for those of you who are fans of Chopin's music. So this is kind of modern, actually, this piece. And the way it came about, I got to kind of explain it to you. My father was a real tough customer. He was born in Fort Apache in the Bronx, and he grew up there. His father died when he was 8, so he was like driving a truck in New York when he was like 12, you know, and working. And he paid his way. He also had a hack license, so he was a cab driver in Manhattan. And he paid his way through court reporting school, and he was a court reporter by the time I came around. And but he was paying for all these piano lessons for me. And one day he says to me, I'm going to kind of do an impression of him. He says, Christopher, how come nobody knows nothing that you play? Who ever heard of this stuff? Why don't you play something people know? So I was like, okay, all right, well, what do you want to hear? So he told me, and so I went up to the store and I got the, you know, the baby music. Really simpleton arrangement of it. And so I was like, well, I can't play it like that. You know, I won't even be able to look in the mirror. So I took that and I really Liberace'd it up. Yeah. And now you got to remember, I'm like 12 or 13 at the time. And so I did that, and then I thought, that's not even enough. So I threw a little bit of the Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven in there to make me feel better about playing it. So then anytime we ever went anywhere, my dad said, Christopher, play this for me. So, but I lost my dad about 12 years ago. So I'm playing it, you know, for him upstairs and for you guys too. And so this was like his favorite tune. And it's kind of odd because it's a real sappy song. I believe the name of the song is Where Do I Begin? But it's the theme from Love Story. Yep. Oops. Drop that off. Thank you very much. It's really hard to stand up. You know, we are really moving around. It's rock and roll, whether you want it or not tonight, folks. Anyway, I'm going to take a little break, and I'm going to explain to you how I ended up in Ohio. And a lot of people ask me, you know, how did you end up playing on board a ship and all this kind of questions. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and through that, answer lots of questions. And because I really get basically the same kind of questions. I started playing when I was 7 years old with just a neighborhood teacher, and I took to it right away. So when I was 9, I went to a teacher named Dr. Rosalina Sackstein at the University of Miami. I studied with her for most of my career. She's still there. And I started performing when I was 11, all around the South Florida area. Like my first orchestra was the Miami Beach Symphony, which isn't around anymore. And then I did, after that, a couple concerts with the Florida Philharmonic, which isn't around anymore. And I played a couple concerts also with the Boston Pops. They're still around. But all the time I was doing that, those of you who are from the Florida area will know what I'm talking about. I was also doing the condo dates, right? The Century Villages and Wynmore Village and all those places, right? Some of them are big, beautiful places. Some of them are, you know, not the great, you know, so great. But it was a good experience because it was more of a show. Like when you do the concerts, you know, it's a printed program. You don't say a word to the audience. You just sit there and play, and then you leave. But the condo dates were more like this. I'd always open for some named star like Nipsey Russell or somebody like that in one of those condos. So that was a good experience. And somebody heard me in Miami Beach when I was 14 playing in one of those places. And came backstage and asked my mom. Nobody asked me anything, right? I was just a kid. They asked if I would be interested in performing on board a cruise ship. And what do you think she said? Yeah. Right? Because I could just see the free cruise wheels spinning, you know, in her head. And so my first ship was the SS Norway, which isn't around anymore. But that was my first ship. And I did that for quite a while. And then I started to work for a company called Royal Viking Line, which also isn't around anymore. And, you know, as I got older, of course, Mom didn't go on all the trips with me because she didn't have to. After I turned 18, she didn't have to go with me anymore, but she still went sometimes. But anyway, I was on board a ship called the Royal Viking Sky, and I met one of the ballerinas in the dance team. And we met, and we fell in love, and we got married, and she's not around anymore, but it's just a joke. It's not true. In fact, coming up September 12th will be our 21st wedding anniversary. Oh, thank you. Yeah, and guess where she was from? Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio. Yeah, we tried Miami for the first year we were married, and there was a big language barrier, and she couldn't deal with it. So, you know, coming from that little town to there, and it just didn't work. So we moved up to Ohio. So now I get to do things I never thought I'd do, like shovel snow, and you know, that kind of stuff. But it's very nice. Oh, did I mention we have 2 children? Yes, we have 2 children, and we got a boy first, which was important because I'm Italian. We had to have the boy. And his name is Matthew, and he's 19 years old, and he's a freshman at Kent State University, so we're real proud of him. And then we got lucky and got a girl for the second one, and her name is Maya, and she's a little dancer like Mommy. I happen to have some photos here to show you. See, there's Maya in her dance outfit. There's Matt at school there. There's Maya at the beach, another one at the beach. There she is in her little Chinese outfit. That's what she was looking. Can you see those okay in the back? I'll show them to you later. But anyway, all right. Well, now at this point in the show, we're gonna switch gears a little bit, and I'd like to ask the assistance of the Grand Princess Orchestra. How about a nice round of applause for them? Today, and we're gonna play some Gershwin for you. Hope you enjoy it. Thank you. You know, we rehearsed for about 12 minutes, about 15 minutes today. So I think that's a pretty good job for 15 minutes of rehearsal, yeah? Woo! And keep it going for the light and sound guys and all that. Thank you. Backstage. Because my show is so complicated. I mean, there's a lot that they have to do, you know, with the... I'm kidding. Anyway, that's a joke. Anyway, I want to talk a little bit about playing piano, because playing piano is different from any other instrument. Anybody know why? Because you can't take it with you. So, you know, everybody else plays the same instrument or practices on the same instrument they perform on. And with piano, what I'm trying to say is you never know what you're going to get. And growing up like I did, like Carnegie Hall, that's one thing. I mean, you know, you go across the street to the Steinway store, you pick out the piano you want, they put it on stage, and they tune it. And it's beautiful, you know. But, you know, when you're doing Sunrise Lakes Phase 4 in Boynton Beach, it's not like that, you know. You got one guy that does everything. His name is usually Murray, and he's the MC, he's the, you know, the Condo Association president, he runs the lights, the sound, of, you know, valet parking. He does everything. So, you know, I can remember having to go do one of these dates because somebody canceled. You know, they call me at the last minute, get the kid piano player. He'll do it. You know, so we jump in the car and we get to this place, and it turns out it's a trailer park, right? So, not that there's anything wrong with that, but, you know, we're winding through the trailers looking for the clubhouse, and we find it. It's a triple wide, you know. We go up the aluminum stairs and through the aluminum door, and there's Murray. Where were you? You're late. Anyway, so anyway, he introduces me, and I go out, and I notice a few things about the piano they had there, yeah? Number one, it was real small, like that. I felt like Schroeder. Remember Schroeder? You know? And then it sounded really bad. That was the second thing I noticed. It sounded horrible, like a harpsichord. It sounded like somebody emptied some paper clips and stuff inside of the piano. You know, it was a buzzing noise. Ugh, terrible. And then the third thing I noticed, which was really weird, is that it didn't have a name on it. They all have names on them, right? This one's a motorcycle here. It's got a name on it, Yamaha. But anyway, halfway through the first piece, I realized it wasn't that there was no name. It was that somebody put a piece of black tape over the name to cover it up. Yeah, so I had to know, right? So I finished my first piece. I peeled it off. And you know what it said underneath? Fisher Price. What's up with that? So that was a short show. I was nervous about playing here because when I got on board, you know, I asked Sammy, how's the piano? She said, don't worry, we just painted it. So, no, but it's okay. I'm making fun of it, but it's good. It's decent instrument. Anyway, I really appreciate you guys coming out in this rough seas. You know, if I didn't have to be here, I wouldn't have been here. You know, I'd be in bed. But anyway, it's I really appreciate it, and I hope I played some stuff you like. If you liked me, you could take me home. I'm available on CD. Yeah, and I'll be backstage, or back in the back of the room over there. There's a table somewhere. I don't know which side it's on, but I'll be back there. You got to give me a second to get there, because I got to go up and over and down and, you know, from back here. So give me a second, but I'll be there, and I'll sign them for you, whatever. Or if you just want to meet, you want to see my kids, I'll show them to you. Anyway, I really appreciate you coming out. I want to leave you with something that you're going to like. Have you ever heard of a song called Flight of the Bumblebee? Okay, well, during the big band era, the Freddie Martin Orchestra, with a man named Jack Fina on the piano, recorded this tune. It's called Bumble Boogie. Thank you, and good night.
and gentlemen, what a sensational pianist, the maestro himself, Christopher Contillo. Come on, Chris, come back out here and take an amazing bow. Woo! What a performer. Christopher Contillo. I'm going to give him a second to get backstage. Don't worry, you got time, because you know me, Chris, I talk. By the way, it's true. You know, every single night, we throw something new at this band and this production team, and they ace it. They never play the same thing twice. Give them a big round of applause. Great, great, great job. It's true. It's like a bag of surprises. It's so much fun. Hey, listen, you know, it's not a school night. Whatever people are talking about, don't go ashore tomorrow. We don't get there till the next day. Small detail, but we do go. I want to let you know, tomorrow afternoon we figure about 3:45-ish. Instead of 5 o'clock, we will be in the area of Cape Horn. So what we'll do is we'll get as close as we can. Julio and I will go upstairs. You can go and watch it on your televisions. You can watch it in your out in the Deck 15 area, running back and forth, and get your photos and get your pictures. And bundle up. It's fun. You're going to be, I mean, that is